You ever had a recurring dream or a feeling you can't explain? Maybe a place you hate going, or a food you don't like, but you don't know why? Well, sometimes these instances can be explained through a process called psychoanalysis. See, everyone's mind is made up of a conscious and an unconscious, and together they allow a person to form their personality. Many times the unconscious mind causes your conscious mind to do things or feel things you can't explain. One way to look deeper into the unconscious mind is to use psychoanalytic theory.
Psychoanalytic theory, first and foremost, is a mental challenge. So those who choose to tackle psychoanalytic theory have to look at someone's behavior, whether it be a regular person or, in our case, an author or a character. And we have to relate that behavior back to that person's unconscious. So the behavior we're talking about in this case would be a person's physical actions or their thoughts, such as their desires, fears, what makes them angry, what they're cautious towards, what gives them confidence, or what makes them introverted. Now the unconscious comes into play because it's the root of all of this behavior. So the question we ask at this point is why? For example, why do I hate to drive on this road? Is it because I got in a wreck here when I was a child? Why am I especially clingy around my friends? Is it because I don't have a lot of siblings? Why did I just say Matt when I'm on a date with Mark? Is it because I'm still thinking about my ex-boyfriend, Matt? Literary works are analyzed in the same way. So a character's actions and thoughts are subject to questions that will give the reader a greater understanding of his or her subconscious. Likewise, the author's tone and style can be psychoanalyzed too. We ask questions like, is this character modeled after a real-life person because the author feels a strong connection to that person? Or why did this character act insecure in this scene? What made him feel uncomfortable? Why did the author choose this person as the narrator? The list of possible questions goes on and on.
After reading Dante's Inferno in English and watching What Dreams May Come in Fine Art Survey, we as a group were interested on how these great works came to be and what the deeper meaning was behind them. We began to ask those why questions to give us more insight into the mental process behind the works. Within psychoanalytic theory, we explored the authors' and directors' backgrounds and the irrational drives behind the actions in both works. We also applied tenets as well, such as the author's symbolism, characters' latent versus manifest content, and unconscious recognizing the conscious mind.
The Inferno alludes to political figures of Dante's time, such as the papacy and other government figures that played a part in his exile. The people and events in his life influence his works heavily. In the Inferno, the placement of sinners and characters was based off of what Dante personally experienced. For instance, traitors were punished most heavily, not because the sin is typically viewed as the worst, but because of Dante's personal beliefs.
The Inferno illustrates examples of the irrational versus rational drives presented in the psychoanalytic theory. Dante the Pilgrim exhibits irrational drives when he faints after hearing the love story between Francesca and Paolo, and when he deliberately chooses to be rude to the friar trying to help him. He displays rational drives when he becomes anxious at the sight of Satan, and fearful when he hears the screams of pain from a tree. The rational and irrational drives assist the reader in further understanding of the characters in the Inferno.
Symbolism is a fantastic way to analyze the unconscious because a symbol can mean something different for every person. In What Dreams May Come, the afterlife is different for each individual. The afterlife satisfies each individual's unconscious desires and emotions. Some of the symbols in What Dreams May Come include the paint in the afterlife, Chris's dog, and other. The manifest content of a dream is the actual events of a dream, whereas latent content is the underlying meaning behind the events of the dream. Chris's dreams appear to be his journey through the afterlife via Annie's paintings, but his dreams actually are his afterlife. His heaven is in his mind. You can see this when Chris notices parts of Annie's painting that didn't exist when he was still alive. As Annie adds to the manifest content of the painting, Chris sees this in the context of latent content. Chris never saw the new parts of the painting while he was alive, and now they only appear to him as part of his heaven. The connection between manifest and latent content allows the viewer to see how strong Chris and Annie's relationship is because they can communicate through the painting.
Why is it so hard? Look, your brain is meat. It rots and disappears. Did you really think that's all there was to you? Like you're in your house right now. You're in your house. It doesn't mean you are your house. House falls down, you get out and walk away.
But it looks like I rebuilt, huh?
You see a body because you like seeing one. We're seeing what we choose to see. Let me show you something.
Where's all the paint?
You don't need it anymore. This is your world now. Thought is real. Physical is the illusion. Ironic, huh?
A concealed desire or suppressed wish can be the instigator of a dream. Because Chris's dreams are rooted in his deep subconscious, he sees heaven as his dream world.
The id, ego, and superego are all part of Freud's structural model of the psyche, which focuses on different aspects of the unconscious human mind. The id, an irrational and impulsive drive, is illustrated by the character Annie when she portrays hasty and irrational actions. Annie takes her life after she loses her husband and children. The ego characteristic illustrates the mediator between the unrealistic thoughts and reality. Albert, a mentor to Chris, exemplifies this part of the structural model when he bridges Chris's confusion of death and the understanding of situation. Chris portrays the superego characteristic when he incorporates his values and morals into his everyday life and every decision he makes. He strives to make everything perfect. Chris decides that he is going to save his wife in hell, even though the possibility is very slim. Annie, Albert, and Chris all exemplify the characteristics of Freud's structural model of the psyche by their actions in the movie.
If someone doesn't resolve traumatizing issues in their past, then many emotional obstacles can occur. We see this in What Dreams May Come when Annie has mental breakdowns. She has suffered the death of her children and her husband, and she blames herself for both of them. Because of her guilt, she cannot mentally heal, and so she has devastating negative emotions which lead her to suicide. Annie also spends a lot of her time in solitude, and so her thoughts are always pressing on her. She lets her guilt determine her course of life by letting it overwhelm her. She uses her suicide as a means of escape because she believes that suicide will help her overcome the emotions she cannot overcome in her life.
You can see a connection between the Inferno and What Dreams May Come because some of Dante's circles of hell are visible in What Dreams May Come. The gateway to hell exists, but it doesn't have Dante's inscription on it. When they float through the library on the boat, this symbolizes limbo because limbo had great thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, who contributed a lot but weren't Christian. After the boat floats out of the library into the water, you can see souls being blown by the wind, which represents the second circle, the lustful. In the third circle, Albert notices a ship named Cerberus. Cerberus is the guardian of the gluttons. They also find bodies buried in the mud up to their neck. The fourth circle is represented by souls that are using weapons against each other. The fifth circle, the river Styx, is shown by the souls in the water trying to pull the boat passengers in. The sixth circle of heresy contains flaming tombs, and when Chris falls deeper into hell, you can see a flaming tomb in the background. We know Chris is in the seventh circle because he visits Annie and she is a suicide. We never make it past the seventh circle though, because Chris's end journey was to find Annie. He didn't want to get all the way down to the bottom of hell.
No, in hell, there's real danger of losing your mind.
Through fucking hell. I'd only want one person in the whole goddamn world by my side.
It hasn't been a really good day.
Come on, it's our private deck.
I never took more than 30% from any client.
This must be the place.
Yeah.
Mister!
Incoming! I got it. Hey, watch where you step at!
Oh, sorry.
You are rude, sir.
Anybody got a cure?
No, man.
I'm not an animal.
Oh, sorry.
Son, welcome. Welcome, son.
Papa?
Son.
Papa.
You're Klaus. Welcome.
No.
Welcome, welcome.
You're not my dad. Sorry.
It's all right. They never come. Don't worry, it's only a matter of time.
The theme that what you believe can become your life is shown in What Dreams May Come and in Dante's Inferno. For example, in Dante's Inferno, Dante's beliefs and experiences in his own life form his world or his hell in his work. On the other hand, in What Dreams May Come, Chris's beliefs and experiences in his life form both of his heaven and his hell.
We wanted to further understand the works and the authors in order to clearly see the theme and motives. As of now, we further comprehend the drives, desires, thoughts, and actions of characters due to the use of psychoanalytic theory.
So what could you take away from this?
The psychoanalytic theory also has taken place in all of our lives, that in now we are all able to understand the human psyche in a more in-depth way. We have the ability to look at different possibilities as to why people do things. We also can now see that every person has an unconscious mind and drives that they cannot control. In our lives, we can look deeper into every person we meet and into literary works as well.